Alright, so in this section we're going to talk about users and user groups. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is our users controller. So we're going to go to controllers, admin, and then create a new file called users.php. Class users extends my controller. Okay, so we first want to create a public function index. Okay, this is going to act just like our other index functions. We're going to actually just we're going to get the users from the user model, the getUsers method, and then pass it to our view, which is going to be in our views folder, then admin users index. Okay, so we have that model function created already, so let's create the view. If you go to views, admin, you want to create a new folder called users, and then in that folder we'll create a new file called index.php, and I'm going to paste this in. Okay, we have our messages at the top for our user saved and user deleted. Then we have our table, our values are down here. Okay, we're using the users variable that we grabbed from the model right here, and we're just outputting the ID, first name, last name, username, email, and then we have our buttons that are for edit, users edit, and users delete. So we can save that, and now if we click on users, we can see a table of all the registered users. So that takes care of the index. Now let's work on the add user. Okay, so we want to be able to add users. So in our users controller, I'm going to paste in the add method. Okay, again, same thing, we're doing form validation, and then we're getting the groups here. We haven't created this get groups method yet, which we'll do in a second. Let me just comment that out for now. We're loading a view here if the form hasn't been submitted. If the form has been submitted, we're creating our data array from all the form values, and you can see that this password here, we're calling the MD5 function on it because we want to encrypt the user's password with MD5. And then here we're calling the insert method in the user model, which we should create now. So save that and then go to models, user model, and we're going to paste in a very simple function. It's just going to call this db insert in the users table, and it's going to plug in our data. So save that. Okay, now we need to create a view, so we'll go into views, admin, users, and then create a new file called add.php. Okay, so we'll paste this in. Alright, so we have a validation error placeholder, a form which is going to admin users add, which we just created, and then for the form we have input fields for first name, last name, email, username, password, confirm password, and user group. And the user group, we're going to scroll through each group that's in the database, which this might not work right now because we commented it out. We haven't created the model function to get groups yet. So let's just see what this does for now. So users, add user, you can see that there's nothing here. There's no group options. So I'm going to actually go create that now. If we go back to users, inside of the add method, I'm going to uncomment this line. Okay, and we just want to create inside the user model, we want to create the get groups function. And I'm going to paste in both get groups and get group. Okay, so get groups is just going to get everything in the groups table. return the result. Get group is going to take an ID and it's going to get whatever group for that ID, and then it's going to return the row. So if we save that, now if we go back and reload, you can see that we have a choice for our user groups. And let's just try to add a user. We'll say Fred Smith, Main Street, say Fred Smith, password, registered. Actually, we'll make him an admin, and then save. Oh, I put his street address for his email address, so I'm just going to put test@test.com. Alright, so unknown column group. Okay, so that should actually be group ID. So I'm going to go back to this add, and then in the data array, I want to change this right here to group. Actually, no, I want to change this to group ID. Alright, and then we'll try this again. And there's Fred. Okay, so that's working good. Now we want to be able to edit. So in the user's controller, I'm going to paste in the edit method. Very similar to add. We're validating the fields, we're getting the groups, but here we're going to get a single user. And I'm not sure if we have this function in the model yet, so we need get user, which we don't. So I'm going to put that right under the get users. Very simple query. Okay, so we're just going to get the user by his ID. Alright, and then in the model, we need to, user model, we need to create the update method as well. Okay, so we'll paste this in, save, and then we want to create the view. Make sure you're in the users folder in the views, and we want edit.php. And I'm going to paste it in the view, and we have the validation holder. Same thing, first name, last name, and these should all have a value of coming from that user variable. Alright, so if we save that and then we reload and go to edit, admin users edit for, so we get edit. Oh, I didn't save that. Okay, so let's reload and go to edit. Alright, so let's see if we can change this. We'll change his last name to Thompson. Save. Okay, so we still have group. We need to make that group ID inside of the edit method. This should be group ID. Whoop. Alright, so you can see that it changed his name to Fred Thompson. So the last thing for users is the delete. So back to the user's controller, we're going to go ahead and paste in the delete method. It's just going to call this user model delete, which we'll create right now. Okay, and we'll post that in. Alright, so now if we can go and reload and try to delete Fred. Admin users delete for, oh, I didn't save it, I don't think. Yeah, I need to save the controller. So let's try it again, and Fred's gone. So that's it for users, that's all set. Now we want to do user groups. So we can get rid of the user's controller, we can get rid of these views. You just want to keep the user model open, because we're not going to have a group model, it's just going to go through the user model. So go to controllers, admin, and then new file called groups.php. class groups extends my controller, and we're going to paste in the index, which is just going to call the get groups from the user model, which I believe we created, which is right here, get groups. And then we're going to pass it into the view, which is going to be admin groups index. So let's go to the views folder and admin, create a groups folder, and then an index PHP file. And I'm going to paste in the code. So we have our message placeholders for saved and deleted. And then we just have basically a table with the group ID, name, and then the buttons to edit and delete. Okay, so now let's reload and go to user groups. Admin groups. Did I not save it? Okay, I just needed to save the controller. So now we can see our groups. So now we want to be able to add a group. So in the controller, we have our add method. Okay, so it's going to validate, see if the form ran and passed. If not, we're just going to simply load the view, the add view, which contains the form. If it was submitted, we're going to get the name. Okay, that's really the only field that we want to change. And then we're going to call this insert group in the user model, which we can create right now. Again, very simple. And if you notice, all the queries that we're creating here using Active Record are very simple. If you look at all of them, the most advanced ones we have are the get plurals, the get users, get articles, and I mean they're still easy, but we're implementing joins and things like that, order bys. All right, so pretty easy. So let's save that, and then we want to create the view. Make sure you're in your views folder, and then admin, and then groups, and create a new file called add.php. And I'm going to paste this in, just a simple form. Save, and you can see the oh wait, never mind. Well, alright, let's test this out. So add group. Did I not save? I keep forgetting to save my controller. Alright, so test group, save. Alright, so there's our test group. So now we want to be able to edit, so we'll go back to the controller, and I'm going to paste in the edit method, which is similar to the add method. It just takes an ID, and then we're getting the group here, and let's see, we're going to update the group right here. I believe we have get group already in our model. Yep, we have it right here. So that's already all set. Now we just need to create the view. So inside the groups folder and the views, we're going to create edit.php, and I'm going to paste this in, and you'll notice these have a value, or actually we only have one field here, and it has the value of group name, and this group variable is coming from our controller right here. Okay, so let's see, user model. We need our update group function inside of our model. So I'm going to put that right under insert group. Save, make sure everything is saved. And now if we reload and go to edit, say test group test. Okay, so that was edited. So now the last thing we want to do with groups is to be able to delete them. So in the controller, we will paste that in. It's going to call the delete group method in the model, which we'll create right now. Okay, and that's just going to run this db delete groups where ID equals ID. Okay, so save that, and that should work now. Let's delete this group here. Make sure everything's saved. Okay, edit, delete. Alright, so that deleted our group. So that's it. We now have full CRUD functionality for articles, categories, users, and groups. There's basically two main things we have left, and that's going to be authentication, so that we can actually log in and log out, and the settings. We're going to deal with the settings so that we can edit them from inside the browser at this page.